When it comes to fighting crime, there's only one man keeping the streets safe, while keeping it real. Indeed. Teal'c P.I. coming this fall.
Hey everybody, I am Taylor, and I am the Stargate Guy, where I talk to you about everything and anything Stargate. Today we're talking about the top 5 Teal'c episodes. These episodes are not the most fun episodes, but they are the top 5 that help define Teal'c as a character. So although Jaffa jokes may be funny, they don't really add much to his character long term. So let's start in with number 5. Number 5, An Odd Choice, Season 10, Episode 20, Unending. Being the last episode of Stargate SG-1, this episode is really about Teal'c as opposed to everyone else. Although this does give us a little wrap-up and we can literally grow old with SG-1 and see how their lives would be affected, really, this episode is about Teal'c. This is Teal'c's story. And that is not even revealed to us until the very end, when Teal'c goes back in time to change the fact that SG-1 did not grow old and die on a giant space coffin, but rather lived on to tell their story and to give us hope for the Stargate franchise. Number 4, Season 1, Episode 12, Bloodlines. This is where we really get to see what Teal'c left behind when he decided to betray Apophis and join SG-1. We got to see his family and how his family was impacted by his choice. This also introduced us to his master Bra'tac and to his son Ryak, two characters that would last out through the entire 10 seasons of SG-1 and would become part of his main motivation for sticking with it. This episode not just showed us that Teal'c was a warrior, but he was also a family man. And this was his main motivation. Although he wants to see all Jaffa free, this is what makes it personal. Number 3, Season 8, Episode 6, Avatar. This is probably one of the more fun episodes on this top 5 list. This is where Teal'c ends up in a virtual reality that will be used in order to train future SG personnel. This gives us a prime example of how Teal'c has grown as an individual. Yes, we see that he is a great fighter and that he is resourceful, that he learns from his past, but it also shows us that back when it first began, he had no hope of actually defeating the Goa'uld, and that he was really going out on a limb when joining SG-1, but that now, 8 years later, after seeing Goa'uld's fall, he now has hope, and he continues the fight. And he continues fighting until he is almost driven insane. And if it wasn't for the help of his friend Daniel Jackson, which represents the rest of SG-1, Teal'c would just be like an Avatar, sitting in a corner, going insane, waiting for it all to end. Number 2, Season 10, Episode 17, Talion. This is an episode where it is really the badass of Teal'c coming out. This starts off with a Jaffa village, a free Jaffa village, having a suicide bomber, which is extremely relevant to the time when this episode came out. Teal'c gives up his commission on SG-1, he goes rogue, and he goes out on a personal vendetta in order to find out who committed this atrocity and to make them pay for it. This is where we get to see the darker side of Teal'c, the length that he is willing to go for the sake of freedom and for the sake of his people being safe. Not just from the Goa'uld, but from fear as well. And now here are a few honorable mentions. Season 4, Episode 4, Crossroads. Season 5, Episode 18, The Warrior.
Beg for mercy. I die free.
Season 7, Episode 10, Birthright.
Don't worry, I'm sure we'll be in.
Season 9, Episode 14, Stronghold.
Democracy is the future of our great nation. We must proceed with the dissolution of this council, which we have seen can be influenced and corrupted. I hereby formally propose we hold a public referendum on the subject so that all Jaffa can participate in the decision before us.
And now, finally, the number one, the top of the top 5 for what has affected Teal'c during the entire span of SG-1, Season 6, Episode 19, The Changeling. This is another episode written by Chris Judge, and one that has dramatically impacted not just Teal'c, but Braytac and the rest of the Free Jaffa. This is where we get to see Teal'c sacrifice himself for the sake of Braytac in a very literal way, using one Goa'uld symbiote in order to sustain them both after a vicious attack from the Goa'uld to try to wipe out the resistance that they forged along this very long time of struggling against the Goa'uld. Here we get to see Teal'c go in and out of dream state and out of reality, making us question what is reality, and this allows us a little bit into Teal'c's subconscious, allowing us to see what he dreams about having a regular, normal Earth life, one that will involve a healthy relationship, one that allows him to work with his friends, and one that allows him to rescue people. This shows us that Teal'c at heart is a rescuer, not so much a warrior. Rescuing is his main motivation. This also gets to introduce us to Teal'c finally, truly being free of the Goa'uld, and having him and Braytac take Tritonin instead of having a Goa'uld symbiote within them to sustain them as an immune system and to give them strength. Although Teal'c would later struggle with adapting to the feeling of using Tritonin, this crowns the point where he is truly free from the Goa'uld. Let me know what episodes you think I missed out on in the comment section and down below. And if you like this video, go ahead and check out the top 5 episodes from Jack O'Neill, and check out this awesome video for some great Stargate action. And until next time, I'll see you on the other side.